Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and I just got back from CE Week 2017, which was in New York City today, and I saw some stuff, actually enough stuff that I could put it into a full episode here, so I wanted to share with you what I saw on this trip. The first thing we're going to take a look at is MSI's booth. They had a new laptop called the GS series. It starts around $1299. That comes with a GTX 1060. What I liked about it was the fact that it's so small and thin, or at least not so small, but it is thin, which is something you don't usually see with a gaming laptop with a GPU of that caliber. So that was cool to see some smaller form factors coming into play. I'm very curious to see how it gets rid of all the heat it generates. We also looked at the MSI VR1, and this is a backpack computer designed for virtual reality. So as you know, you need a pretty powerful computer, desktop computer usually, to do VR properly, and this allows you to put it on your back. It weighs about 8 pounds or 3.6 kilograms. I did get to wear it and try it out. Didn't feel all that heavy. The VR, of course, seemed to work fine given what it had for specifications, and I think it's kind of a neat concept. It runs on batteries, and you have 2 batteries in there. If one battery dies, you can take it out and then put in another one, so you can keep going indefinitely as long as you take one battery out and replace it and then do the other one. So about an hour and a half per set of batteries, and then you can have 2 batteries set aside for charging that you can bring back in to keep it going. Pretty cool concept here. I think we need to just get to a point where the VR can get integrated into the headset, but until then, you can wear it on your back, and it didn't feel all that heavy to me. And Intel was demoing their Optane technology. This is kind of like a hybrid disk in that you have a spinning hard drive and then a much faster M2 SATA device that Intel is calling Optane to speed things up. So what happens is your system boots from your drive as usual, but what will happen is that over time it will start moving things that are more frequently accessed to the Optane drive, so you get SSD speeds out of launching applications, for example, yet still having the benefit of a lot of storage. So it's cheaper than buying perhaps a 4 terabyte SSD, where you could have a 4 terabyte spinning hard drive in your computer, one of these $40 or $50 Optane devices, and get somewhat close to the best of both worlds, which is a lot of storage with performance for loading applications and booting. This only works on Kaby Lake devices. They built in some new controller technology into the chip itself, so you need a 7th generation Intel processor. It doesn't work with Apollo Lake. I did ask, but if you have a low-powered NUC or a gaming laptop, for example, that has both the SATA drive as well as a port for M2, this might be a very inexpensive way to have your capacity yet get some SSD-like speeds for things that you're accessing quite often. Now, if you thought instant photography died along with these old Polaroid cameras many years ago, guess what? Instant is making a big comeback, and there were 2 cameras out at the show that integrated digital technology with instant photo technology. And the one I wanted to start with, just from an intriguing technological interest, is the Fuji Instax Square. This is a $279 camera that is out right now, and it works a lot like other Fuji instant cameras in that you take a picture and the photo gets exposed onto paper and developed right before your eyes, just like how the old Polaroids used to work. But this camera is digital, so you can take a picture and then print out multiple copies on this photo paper. This is not some kind of inkjet or heat transfer paper. This is actual photo paper that is going through a chemical process and getting exposed, just like the old film cameras used to do. I have no idea how it works. I'm just assuming there must be some kind of projector inside of it. Nobody there that was showing the camera actually knew how it worked, which was driving me crazy, but I'm going to try to find out more about it. Unfortunately, the digital sensor on it isn't all that great. It's only like 3.5 megapixels or so, so from the digital standpoint, not so great, but a really interesting way to blend new and the old, because they are using actual photo paper on this camera, just like the old ones did. The problem, though, is the consumable cost. So if you thought ink was expensive, the photo paper for this thing is going to run you about $1.50 per photo. So very expensive, but it might be a fun thing for wedding photographers or people that just want to have a way to hand out photos instantly. It is a really cool conversational piece and a nice way to maybe give somebody something after you take a picture of them. Unfortunately, though, the digital version of that print won't be all that great. The other camera I saw was from Polaroid, actually a company that had licensed the Polaroid name, and they've got a camera called the Polaroid Pop, and it's rather large, just like the Fuji is, but it integrates, I think it must be some kind of heat transfer printer inside of it. So the prints that you get out of this thing, although they have the same borders that the old Polaroid photos did, it's just printing onto a special photo grade paper. It looks okay. It's not the best resolution. In fact, neither of these cameras looked all that great on their prints, but it is a fun conversation piece. This camera, though, the Polaroid, shoots at 20 megapixels, so I think you might have a usable image you can bring onto your computer for further work later while still being able to hand people prints while you're out in the field. It will also allow you to print from your smartphone camera too, which is something the Fuji does not let you do. So that one might be more practical, but the Fuji really intrigued me just based on the fact it's using real photo developing processes and how it spits out its images for you. And I also ran into Switchmate at the show, and if you remember from my review a few months ago, these are little IoT devices that you can stick on top of your light switches to control things. And what I liked about this device is that you didn't have to install it. You just put it on top of your light switch and then it becomes a smart switch, or sort of smart. And my issue with it back when I reviewed it was that it didn't integrate with any of the smart home stuff that was out there. They're making some progress now. It does work with Google Home and the Google Assistant. I'm going to be trying that out in a couple of days and seeing what kind of improvements they've made. They have some new switches on the market now as well that are smaller, so you can have two of them next to each other, which may not have been possible with some installations before. They have a new power outlet that just goes right on top of an existing outlet. It'll add USB charging. You'll still have two plugs to plug stuff into that you can independently control. So there's some smart switching on and off of the outlets on the outlet adapter, and there's even a night light built in. They also have some cameras coming out very soon too. So a lot of new products from this company, and they're trying to make things that work without any real installation. I think it's a very neat way to begin bringing in more intelligence to your home without having to rewire everything. Just stick this thing on top of a light switch or an outlet and you're good to go. And I also ran into a company at the show called Waylens, and they are the makers of a very high-end dashboard camera that I hadn't seen before that costs about $400, but it works with your vehicle's onboard diagnostics port, so it can overlay real-time data from the engine on top of the recording. So you can see all the intricacies of what your vehicle was doing if you're going around a racetrack or some other thing where you're trying to assess the performance of your vehicle. So I think more for auto enthusiasts, really cool stuff though. But what they were showing at the show was something called the Secure360, which is a 360-degree dashboard camera. And I immediately felt like this would be a great thing for Uber and Lyft drivers, because not only can you get what's happening in front of your vehicle, but you can also at the same time record what's happening inside of your vehicle too, because you can just scroll the image around like you can do on any 360-degree camera. So really neat concept. And it also has a security feature built into it. So as you're parked and away from your vehicle, if it detects motion around the vehicle, it will turn itself on and start recording the motion events. They're going to have a cloud service. I don't know what that's going to cost, but the cloud service will take the video from the camera automatically. So if somebody were to walk off with your vehicle, you'd actually have a video of that event happening and maybe have a better shot at catching the thief. There'll be two versions available. One is a 4G version, so that would probably be more amenable to the real-time security feature. That one's going to be about $350. There's also a $250 version that will record locally and I think has some Wi-Fi capability too. So this is going to be a Kickstarter, and you know how I feel about Kickstarters, but these guys I think are doing it correctly in that they have the product already in the advanced prototype stages here. So they have assumed most of the risk of developing this product, which is not something we've been seeing lately on a lot of our PC projects on Kickstarter. So they are doing it the right way. They're assuming most of the risk and using Kickstarter as a marketing vehicle versus a means of spreading out their risk in product development. So they have I have a good comfort level with these folks, and they've already put together one pretty nice product already. So we'll be on the lookout for that. So that's going to do it for my trip to CE Week 2017. That was some of the cooler stuff that I saw. Let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below, and as these products become available, I'll try to get them in for review. This is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters, including Gold Level supporter Cody Falk. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.